Hello everybody and welcome to another swatching video. So this swatching video I've kind of been looking forward to for a while. I bought myself a set of Schmincke limited edition super granulating watercolors. They have many sets, but this limited edition one is called the Haze set. And I bought it for myself as sort of a late Christmas present. And it arrived during one of my studio vlogs, which I'll link up there. And so I finally got around to swatching it out for you guys. And so we're going to take a look at that. And then I'm going to do a little bit of art nerding. I'm going to break down the pigments and take a closer look at what Schmincke pigments I believe actually make these colors and why I think they are that way. Yeah, so I hope you enjoy it. In today's swatching video, I'm a little excited for this one. We are swatching out and taking a closer look at this limited edition set by Schmincke, and it is their Super Granulation Haze set. I bought this for myself as sort of a late Christmas gift. So now we're going to actually take a closer look at it. And I am actually very excited about these paints, even though, I mean, I don't need these paints. But I wanted these paints. I wanted to check them out and play with them. And there are 5 limited edition colors in this set, in this tiny cute little box. And they're little 5mm tubes. So I'm going to give these a little swatch and we're going to look at the magic that is super granulating colors. I also am going to do a little bit of a breakdown of the pigments. I'm going to do a little breakdown of pigment information and talk a little bit about why, even though these are very awesome, you don't necessarily have to buy these colors. They can be mixed. First, let's go take a look at the magic of these as I swatch them out. love watching watercolors blend. So now that I've done that, I've also gone ahead and off camera done a couple of other tests. This one here is just layering to see how well it layers, and then of course dispersion. So I've just put a big puddle of clean water and dropped the pigment and then watched the results of letting it disperse in the water. And the greeny blue pigment that's in here is definitely lighter than the red pigment because it flowed out because its flow went farther. I don't know. Anyways, you can see the blue stretches out further than the pinkish red that's still in there. And another thing too that I wanted to point out, and actually it's not quite as evident in this one here as it will be in the other one, but when using granulating colors of any type, when you play with lots of splotches and loose washes of water, you see a lot more of the granulation. When you make an even wash of it to paint over something, this particular one is quite strong, so you can still see it, but it's not quite as pronounced of a granulation and separation as it is when you play with the water more. So that is the haze pink there. And then with the haze blue, which I also am really impressed with, you can really see the difference here between dropping it in like with the water, the really, really wet mix, dropping water in and letting it just spread. You can really see a lot more of the separation of colors, whereas when I made the solid washes to just build up my layers, starting from light and working out to an extra layer every time, even though you can still see, especially in the darker parts, a little bit of the warmth and the cool, in the lighter ones, it is more of an even hue than these ones here. You can still see the granulation, but the hue difference is not quite as drastic. And then again here with the dispersion of the this yellowy pigment definitely disperses out further than this blue, which I almost guarantee you is French ultramarine. It's a heavier pigment, therefore it's settling first. And actually you can see that here too. The blue pigment will settle first, whereas the warmer ones are flowing out more to the edges of the water. And same thing here in the haze indigo, and you can see the separation in this one even less than you could in the blue. And I think that might also be because the hue variance between the blue and this one, it's more drastic. These colors are more vibrant than these colors. These colors are much more subtle, and so they sort of blend better. And even in this dispersion test, you can't see a whole lot of the warmth. It is very evenly dispersed. And here the brown, now the brown is just, it's a brown pigment and a black pigment, so it's not surprising that there's no magic. Yes, the first couple there just felt really magical when they really separated. You can see here in the dispersion and in spots in here where you can see like bits of the black pigment have separated from the brown pigment. It has happened. It's just because the pigments are so close in tone, it doesn't show up as much. But again, it's a very lovely brown if you're looking for a super granulating brown. Probably easy to mix yourself. We'll look at that in a minute. And then here's the black. And you can see in this dispersion, you can see a bit of a greeniness in it, which there is a green pigment in. So we're going to take a look at that in a minute. And then of course it's got the granulating black, probably a Mars black, and a brown, and I don't really, I guess I could see the brown a little bit, but again you can see a lot more variance of the colors when I was playing with big drops of water and paint as opposed to making an even mix where it just looks more like a solid color over here. And even in the dispersion, I could still see some of the green out on the edges here. So it's a lighter pigment than the black, but the black is, I'm pretty sure it's Mars black, and so it's very granular and it settles very quickly. And it settles very quickly. Okay, let's go take a look at the pigment breakdown of these colors. Okay, let's take a closer look at what these pigments actually are. I have this book here. This is just a watercolor sketchbook that I bought at my local art store, and I've been collecting swatches. I don't actually own all of these colors because holy crap, that would be a lot of money, but I was able to get my hands on some dot charts. If you don't know what that is, it's a chart where they will put dots of watercolor on them, let it dry, ship it out to you, and then because it's watercolor, you can just re-wet it and you know, to reactivate the paint and then go ahead and paint with them. So I have this collection here, and the first ones I have here you can see is Winsor Newton, and I've just placed this piece of tracing paper in between my two sheets. As you can see, I don't have all of the colors, but I have most of the colors for the Winsor Newton. And I also have Daniel Smith, and again, not all of them. As you can see, there are some blank spaces there, and I don't know why these colors were not on the dot charts, just because maybe we can't get them in Canada, or I'm not sure, but there are a few that's missing. This one here, that Rose Madder, the dot was so small, that's all I got to do. I was a little sad about that one. But anyways, I also have in here the Schmincke. So I did order a dot chart for the Schmincke watercolors from Jackson's Art Supply. And at the time, we didn't have any. It was hard to, anyways, get the Schmincke watercolors here in Canada. They are now available at my local art store, but I don't think you can get the dot chart. But as you can see, I have swatched out all of their colors. And here are our new granulating colors. I have a few pages left that I actually want to do another brand. I haven't decided which one yet. I'm kind of thinking maybe the Core watercolors, QOR. They are the watercolors that are produced by the company Golden. If you're familiar with Golden acrylics. I don't paint with acrylics very often, but when I was painting with acrylics, I really did enjoy the Golden brand. It was good quality. So I would be interested to see what the watercolors were like from them. But anyways, we're going to take a quick little look here at the pigment breakdown of these colors, just because I find these very interesting to look at. And as well, I want to show you that these colors that you buy in these special sets, and actually any color that has more than one pigment on it, you don't have to buy that tube if you don't want to. The reason why you might is because it's convenient. Therefore, they are often called convenience colors because the pigments are already pre-mixed for you in the tube. You don't have to think about it. You just squirt some out on your palette and away you go. But if you also already have the pigments that these colors are made of, then you can just go ahead and make your own. And it's just a matter of getting the right ratio of pigments to each other, which is obviously harder to do with, say, a 3 or 4 pigment color than just a 2 pigment color. So this first one here, Haze Pink, it's a pigment red 232 and pigment blue 36. So because I happen to have Schmincke's other colors, I can actually just go through and see what their other colors look like in those pigments. So 233 I already knew was Potter's Pink and is obviously a good choice for the super granulating colors, as it is very granulating itself as a color. And you can see that this definitely looks like it's the Potter's Pink that is in this mix. Hopefully the colors come out okay on the screen. And then for the blue, which is pigment blue 36, it's a cobalt, and there's actually 2 colors here. First, I thought it was this cobalt cerulean, because it is pigment green 36, or sorry, blue 36, but also pigment blue 36 is cobalt green turquoise, which might be a little confusing because it's a blue pigment with a green name, but when I look at the way this washes out, I feel like this greenier turquoise is a more accurate match to what is in here than this bright blue. But yeah, that just shows you, like, if you have cobalt turquoise, which a lot of people like to have in their palettes, and potter's pink, which a lot of people like to have in their palettes, all you have to do is mix a little bit of the two of those and keep playing with the ratios until you get your own special mix. The next one I'm going to look at is Haze Blue. And this is another one that I really liked out of this particular set, as well as the Haze Pink. Now this is a 3-color pigment in this mix. And this one here actually took me by surprise just a little bit because it's got pigment yellow 43, which is actually lemon yellow. Now, that looks like a super intense yellow for this mix. This mix does not seem to, I don't see that intenseness in it. I'm thinking they've used this just to help knock back the blue. Because the next blue is pigment 29, which is French ultramarine, which is quite bright. And you could see that this is much more diluted. Now, of course, there's the brown in there. We're getting to that. But I think a touch of the lemon yellow, which is a cool greeny yellow, against this warm blue would help to neutralize it a little bit. So I think that that's why there's some of the lemon yellow in this color. But I think that it's probably just a little bit. But on top of the ultramarine blue, there is their pigment brown 7, which they have here as green umber, which I believe that that is definitely the sort of warmer yellowy tones that we see bleeding out. I believe definitely come from this, with maybe just a hint of that lemon yellow in it. And so yeah, that's cool to take a look at those and how they break down. Now the next one, the Haze Indigo, is also a 3-pigment color. And again, it's got the pigment blue 29, which is French ultramarine. And it also has a brown 33, which is, I don't see any other 33s, so I'm going to have to say it is this mahogany brown, which does make sense, looking at the way the colors wash out here a little bit, and it's granulating, so that would help to add to the super granulation of the granulation. So this next one kind of surprised me a little because it's a green, and looking at this color, I don't really see much of a green, but the green is pigment green 26, which is, looks like it's that probably, yep, that would make sense, and there's no others that would be closer. So cobalt green dark. Now cobalt colors are usually pretty granulating, so they've added a little bit of green into this mix, but it must be very minimal because, like I said, I don't see it come out at all. Again, it may have been used just to help cool off the French ultramarine, as that color is quite warm. And of course the brown is warm, so they need to cool the mixture down. So it seems to me like that would probably have been a good option to help cool down this blue and just make it this nice stormy blue. Now the brown is not quite as, I don't know, exciting. It was probably the least exciting of the colors because it is just a brown and a black pigment, but it is, of course, a very beautiful brown if you're looking for a highly granulating brown. And its 2 pigments are pigment brown 7, which is green umber, and we've seen this in a couple of the other or at least one of the other granulating colors, and also pigment black 11, which is Mars Black, which is a granulating color. So those 2 colors, that black mixed with a little bit of this green umber, which is a warm, kind of looks warmish, but it's also sort of cool. This light colored brown anyways to help warm up black is what this one is made of. And again, this would be a super easy one because both of these colors, green umber or raw umber, some people may have, and the Mars Black, most people have those in their palettes already. So this would be a very easy color to mix yourself. And then the last one, which also sort of surprised me a little because So this is Haze Black, and as I mentioned before, it's a 3-pigment color, and again, I didn't necessarily see all the 3 pigments in there. So let's just take a look at what we have in this one. So again, the Mars Black, the pigment black 11, makes sense because we do have those really dark flecks in here of the granulating Mars Black. And then there's also pigment brown 23, which is... I'm sorry. And it also has pigment brown 33, which is mahogany brown. And it's very difficult to see any warmth in here, but obviously it is. Maybe you could see a little bit up in there, but again, it's a very granulating color. So I believe that that's what makes these super granulating, is that they've taken 2 or more already granulating colors and mixed them together to make them super granulating. So mahogany brown. And then the last color that's in here is green, and it is a pigment green 36, which is a little surprising when you look at pigment green 36, helio green. Look at how intense that is compared to our swatch here. So you can see a little bit of greens in the undertones of these washes, and I believe that this vibrant green was used to help neutralize. If you take this green and that warm mahogany and mix them together, they will neutralize each other into a brownish greenish color. So I think that that's the result here, and then you add in the Mars Black for your additional depth of color and granulation. So yeah, that's a little in-depth look at pigments and what these haze colors are made of. Yeah, that's just my little bit of my art nerdy self popping out there. Like I've said before, I really I'm a bit of an art geek, and I do like these sorts of things. So there you go. That was the limited edition Haze set of super granulating watercolors by Schmincke. That's a mouthful. I hope you enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun for me to experiment with them. I think the one that I'm going to use the most will be probably the Haze Blue. I think the Haze Pink had the most dramatic sort of magic effects, but I can really see myself using the blue, and it may even be a mix of colors that I use in the future on my own with those 2 pigments, because it's really cool. It kind of reminds me of, like, I don't know, oceany scenes or beach scenes or something like that. I really like it. So I hope you enjoyed it. So yeah, if you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. There will be other art-related videos in the future, as well as monthly studio vlogs. And yeah, until the next one. Bye! Hello. Oh, Coda. Do you say hello to the camera? What's going on there, huh? Old doggy. Old doggy. You old doggy. I'm sorry if you can hear some noise in the background. My dog is underneath the desk here fluffing in her blankets.